Hello, everybody, and welcome. So this is unusual. I'm here for the Cockpit Cam Championship on a Monday in ESRL, which I'm not usually here for. But things have changed today. I'm not. The PSGL season is over, so I'm not commentating there, and I've got nothing else on today. So I thought, why not? Why not drop in to a thrilling championship finale here in the Cockpit Cam Championship? Just 3 points in it between the top two drivers. It is something to behold. It is Chalda on 180 points in the Ferrari compared to Reshka with 177 points in the Williams. Jackalacco on 140, so not too bad. He has secured P3 in this championship, so well done to him. He's been very, very strong. But Chalda and Reshka just too strong for everyone else. Reshka has missed 3 rounds. Chalda has missed 2 rounds and not scored in another. So in my eyes, as far as I'm concerned, this is even between the two of them. They've both not scored in the same number of rounds. Reshka missing 3, Chalda missing 2, and not scoring in 1, which was Bahrain early on in the season. But they're here now and ready to go on this final round here in Brazil. We're going to ride on board with someone who is just about to start a lap. Let's see Jackalacco, the Scottish driver, into turn 1. He goes very, very deep. He won't be happy with that. And, oh, he'll be even less happy with that. Straight through the advertising board. And that is lap over for Jackalacco. So we'll come on to Iron Ghost instead, the APP Tier 1 commentator and certified absolute legend. This guy in the V-Carb from Canada, I believe. I'm pretty certain he's from Canada. Into Sector 2 he goes. Not bad from Iron Ghost so far. Or as he would say, the Ghost. I love it. Through turn 10 he... Oh, a little bit deep on the exit as well, but it certainly didn't hit that apex as well as he would have liked. Into the final braking zone on the circuit. Oh, and just a bit wide, and that is lap invalidated for Iron Ghost, but you got the gist. It's a short lap here in Brazil. Seb Mail goes to P1. I haven't seen or raced against him in a while, so good to see Seb Mail on track. Who else is on a lap? Chalda, none other than the championship leader by just 3 points. He's in Sector 2 right now. He's just gone through the first sector. But what's interesting here about this championship battle is that neither driver has a particularly good record around this circuit. Chalda, in fact, in Season 1 of this Cockpit Cam Championship, he himself lost a championship finale at this track against me in that first season, funnily enough, and that was all just because he binned it right at the start. He had an awful start, got collected, and yeah, that was it for him. He didn't got an opportunity to come back. There was no safety car. He goes P1 with a 107.8. That is rapid to start off this quali session. But yeah, in terms of getting points and getting a decent race out of a championship finale at Brazil, Chalda does not have the best record, it has to be said. But Reshka isn't exactly a strong driver around this track either. I think it's fair to say. I don't think he'll mind me saying that. He's not bad by any means, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's his favourite track, or among his favourite tracks in terms of how fast he is. So yeah, a fascinating battle is going to ensue here today. Scott goes to P2 with Jackalacco slotting in alongside with a much better lap this time around from the Scottish driver after binning it at turn 1 earlier on. But they're both quite a long way off Chalda still. A name I used to pronounce all the time as Cialda. I have since been corrected. No idea why he didn't correct me many, many months ago. But I guess he wasn't really bothered. But it is Chalda, apparently. So that is how I will say it from now on. Reshka, though, on an outlap, so we'll keep an eye on the British driver. 3 points behind here, so we have the regular F1 point system in play here in ESRL. I've been told the weather is dry, by the way, so no rain in sight, which... what is astonishing about that is that Brazil usually is a track where you can expect to have some rain at some point. But I have commentated and raced in Brazil 5 times, I think. One for PSGL, one for APP, one for ESRL, one for APP again, and ESRL again today. So yeah, 5 times in the last week I have done Brazil, either commentated or raced it. Nothing, no rain, not one drop, completely dry. I can't believe that has happened, but it has. Reshka coming through the middle sector, though. Don't mind my waffling. Through he goes into this tight and twisty section of track. He needs to get a good lap on the board early on here. Iron Ghost goes to P2. I didn't realise our Canadian commentator friend was so rapid behind the wheel. That's great to see. Up he goes onto the front row. Can Reshka beat him there, though? He's got plenty of ERS to use. Look at that, 70% out of turn 12. He's going to drain it all down towards the line, and he's going to gain a ton of time because of it. It's a 108.0, just 1.5 tenths behind Cialda to start off with, but it's a decent first effort from the British driver, who's just 3 points behind our championship leader. This is going to be fantastic. We've also got RLS Marcus racing today. I think he'll probably be the favourite to win, but we shall see. He may well be. I think it'll probably be Chalda, Reshka, and Marcus will be the top 3. In which order? That is the question. Aces could be up there as well. Aces is a pretty dab hand around this circuit, I have to say. Patrick Myler as well to P4. That is a strong lap from Patrick. I've seen him around an APP before, but he's never shown signs of second row in APP before. So he's also one who's had a big improvement since the last time I've seen him, so good job to Patrick Myler up there in the Red Bull. I believe Irish driver, I think, if I remember rightly. But Marcus, in the meantime, coming through Sector 2, as is Vans Racing just ahead of him in the McLaren. Good to see Vans on track. Haven't commentated or raced with him in a while either. So great to see. Here he comes through the last braking zone. Vithjalman is what I'm going to go for. Vithjalman in the V-carb goes P7 in the meantime. But here comes Vans up to the line. Hello, Palang in the chat. Vans goes P9, just behind his teammate for now with a 109.1. Marcus goes to 3rd, just behind, 3 tenths down on Chalda. So it is the top 2 in the championship in that order on the front row for now. Can Aces do anything about that? He's in the middle sector at the moment. 17.1 in Sector 2 is not too bad, but ideally you want something in the region of the 16s in Sector 1. If you're really on an absolute stonker of a lap at this level. Aces through down towards the final braking zone. 51.4 for now. Vith. I could say Vith, I suppose. Vithjalman. Vithjalman sounds right, though, but it might be best to keep it at Vith. Aces nearly challenges the top 2, though. I told you he'd be there or thereabouts, and here he is on the second row, just 0.02 of a second behind our championship protagonists. In Reshka and Chalda. Jacko on a lap at the moment. Lou Simeons, I believe, just finished a lap in the Ferrari, goes P9. With Barvish in the Mercedes, unfortunately invalidating his first effort We've got Crunchy Pancake starting a lap, but Chalder coming to the end of his. Although it looks like he wasn't happy with this one because he is going again. He's got plenty of ERS left in the tank to do so. I'm sure plenty of tyres as well. The softs don't wear that much over a qualifying lap, so you can afford to give them another go. And Chalder's doing exactly that. Through he comes through Sector 1. Look for 16s. It is a 16.8 in Sector 1. That is outrageous. That is some 0.3 faster than Aces in that first sector. So there's clearly a lot of time to gain for Chalder, unless he's just not very good at the circuit, but I'm sure that's not the case. The Italian driver a dab hand at the best of times, but in a championship finale the pressure's going to be on, and we'll see if he can deliver this time around after he, unfortunately for him, failed to deliver in season 1 of this same championship at this same track. He's only half a tenth up in Sector 2, so it could just be that he's absolutely rapid in Sector 1. Down to the line he goes. What's it going to be this time? It's looking better, but only just. A 7.7 is the new time to beat. He's beat it by just about less than a tenth. But Reshka and Aces yet to go out and challenge him for now. Barvish comes to the line. First lap on the board is a 109.1 and splits the McLarens up there in 12th place. What about Crunchy Pancake? He is not currently on a competitive lap time. Top twos to the top two too, indeed, Rick, indeed. And I like the way you phrased that. But here we are. Scott is going to be the next one to start a lap. He's coming through this long straight where we're going to see plenty of overtakes as the race goes on, I'm sure. Here he goes, down towards turn 1 for the league owner. Right on the edge of the circuit, using all the track, copying Martin's line that we saw on Friday last week at this track in the Division 1 finale. Scott, though, comes through. Is he up? He's a 16.999 in Sector 1. Remember, anything in the 16s is very good, but he has bottled it at Turn 4 exit. And, well, it was a fantastic first sector from Scott, but it's all gone wrong at the very next corner, unfortunately for him. And he'll have to try again, but if he can do a 16.9 in Sector 1, then he's going to be up there if he can get a lap in, but only 5 minutes to go, and it can be difficult to hook up this whole track because you can't afford to make a mistake. It's a lot like Austria in that respect, because it's so short and there's not really many places on the circuit where you can gain time. You've really got to nail every single corner to get a satisfactory lap on the board. And Iron Ghost has not done that. He is invalidated for now. RLS Marcus, though, in the middle sector, I think, is Vith on a lap? I don't think so. Oh, he's certainly not now, over the grass on the exit of the final corner. And Crunchy Pancake gets off of the bottom spot up to P14 for the Aston Martin driver, but we'll go back on board with Marcus as he comes towards the line. He was only half a tenth down in Sector 2, but can he go to the line? No, he's decided to bail on that one. 4 minutes to go in the session to try and improve his time. Aces is up in Sector 1, but just as I ride on board with him, I am cursing everybody today. Goodness me. Soon as I ride on board with someone, they instantly bin it. As Iron Ghost comes through Sector 1, I hope I don't curse him. My commentator friend, here he comes through turn 3 and down to the end of Sector 1. Remember, we're looking for a time in the 16s for something very good. A 17.0 is not bad. It's not bad at all. It's only 300ths off of that that magical 16 zone that you want through that first sector. He's a little bit wide there at turn 6-7, but that won't have cost him too much as long as he kept the overspeed going on the exit. Through the middle sector now, 57% in the battery. He should have plenty to deploy down towards the line after the final corner. Here he comes. What's it going to be in the middle sector? Is it an improvement? No, 1.5 tenths down for the Canadian. And, well, if he gets in the pits now, he'll have just enough time to get on a new set of boots and go again. But is he going to do that? Yeah, he's going to do exactly that. It will be close, but he should just about have time. 1 minute 30 to get out there from getting in the pits. It will be very, very close, but it should be fine. For Iron Ghost, no, that was Patrick Myler coming across the line to start a lap. What about Vans Racing? He's in Sector 2. Seb Mail on an out lap. So who's going to be next to get a time on the board? Scott's on an out lap as well. I think it's Lou Simeons, but he's down by 2.5 tenths, and he's not going to gain that in the final sector. Crunchy Pancake is back down to P15, but he's only a tenth and a half between him and 14th. He's not going to do it on this occasion. He hasn't got the ERS, but he's going to go again on the same set of tyres, which he's now done 5 laps on. I think this is a strange move from Crunchy Pancake, but we'll see how he fares. I think maybe just getting some practice in, which is fair enough. Who's next across the line? It's going to be Vans Racing, but he is not on a competitive lap either. 1.5 minutes to go. Where is Iron Ghost? Is he coming out the pits yet? It's going to be very, very close for the Canadian driver. Crunchy Pancake's out, actually, on the exit of Sector 3. I think he's just retired on track there. But here we go then, to the last few laps of this session. 1 minute 16 to go. Can Iron Ghost get out the pits in time? He's not coming out. Nope, Iron Ghost will not improve. So it's all about this top 4. Maybe Patrick can get involved, but not if he's in the grass, he can't. And he'll have to try again for sure. Here comes Scott to the line. Lou Simeons, no, sorry, Chalder just ahead of him starting a lap, but Scott, can he improve and get himself up there a little bit? 2.5 tenth improvement is actually quite significant around here, but it's only gotten him into the top 5. Lou Simeons to the line. He's going to try one more time. 40 seconds to go for him. Barvish on an outlap. RLS Marcus just starting one as well. Let's ride on board with the championship contenders, though. Chalder has invalidated. No improvement for the provisional pole sitter and championship leader. Can Reshka respond? He's coming through the last few corners now. Just one braking zone to go. Can he nail it? He's only half a tenth up. Can he nail this? Yes, he can, but he's not got as much ERS this time as he did on his previous attempt, so he is going to lose out all the way down to the line from now. As soon as he hits the single digits, is it going to be enough for pole? No, it's not quite enough. He does improve by a tenth, so is it enough to keep the front row? That's the question. Aces into the pits, nothing from him. What about Marcus? I think he's the main threat here. Scott is not improving. What about Lou Simeons? He's in Sector 3. Oh, through the last corner, inches from invalidating. He just about keeps it on. Down to the line comes the Ferrari driver. What's it going to be for him? Can he challenge for the front? It's looking decent, but it's not good enough. P8 with a 108.5. Jacko doesn't improve just behind. Reshka coming through. Is he on another attempt? No, he's not. He's on an in-lap right now, and Marcus goes to second place, knocks the championship contender off the front row. What about Barvish? No improvement there. Eisenborg is invalidated, so that is your qualifying session here in this championship finale. It is the championship leader, Chalder, on pole position, but not by too much. 1.5 tenths between himself and RLS Marcus, with Reshka in third place in the end, knocked off that front row. So we'll see if Marcus plays a bit of a spoiler effect in this championship finale. Aces is going to be up there as well. He is mighty quick around here. His race pace ain't too bad either, so we shall see. But I'm very much looking forward to this. I'll keep you updated on the how the standings would shake out with current results fairly regularly. It is 3 points between Chalder and Reshka. Chalder is the lead driver of the two. Meanwhile, Williams have won it. already. So that is Reshka and Jakalako, our Constructors' Champions for this season. So congratulations to them. 74 points ahead of Ferrari coming into this finale. But it's all about the drivers now. Chalder on pole position with Marcus alongside, and then the championship rival Reshka in third place with Aces with him. Scott in P5, good one from him. Iron Ghost up there as well on the third row. Patrick Milo and Lou Simeon's row 4. Jakalako with Vith in row 5. Seb Mail and Barvish in row 6. And then it's Vans, Eisenborg and Crunchy Pancake who make out the rest of the grid. An absolutely thrilling finale is to come. Anyone in chat, thank you all for watching, by the way. You have picked a good race to watch. But give me your predictions in chat, if you have any, for who's going to be the champion, what the podium's going to be, anything like that. Just to give some backstory as well, Chalder has not won a championship in ESRL before. I don't know about other leagues. He may have won championships in other leagues, but in ESRL he is still titleless after that agonizing DNF at this circuit in Season 1 of the Cockpit Cam Championship. By the way, all these drivers racing in forced Cockpit Cam mode with no assists, so respect to all of them, no matter their pace. But here we are in Season 4, and it is a chance for Chalder to right those wrongs. But Reshka, in the meantime, I believe... I'm sure he'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he has never won a driver's championship in league racing anywhere in any league. I don't think so. I think he told me that once. If I'm completely making that up, or if someone else told me that and I'm conflating it with Reshka, I do apologize. But I think he told me that he's never won a driver's title anywhere in league racing. So we'll see if he can do it today. So both these drivers, I think, would be very worthy champions. No real underdog story, because they're both kind of underdogs in these sorts of championship finale situations. So I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be an epic showdown. I cannot wait to see how it's going to go. Let's have a quick look at tyres. It is mediums for most across the board, only hards for Marcus, Aces and Scott. The optimal strategy is hard medium. I'm pretty confident in that. The hards are pretty bad for the first part of the first stint, but then they get better, and then the mediums for some reason last a lot longer in the second stint than they do in the first stint, or they seem to anyway. So yeah, watch out for Aces, Scott and Marcus, and then Vith starting on the softs, going for a bit of a gamble, so all respect to him for that as well. Marcus, Aces, Reshka, says Rick. JB says Marcus for the race win, but tough to pick between Chalder and Reshka. The hard's awful in the first stint, says Palang. They're pretty bad for the first like 6 or 7 laps or so, and then they get a lot better in comparison to how the mediums were. They get pretty even from that point on. But we shall see. Crunchy Pancake's going a bit too far in his grid box, but here we go. We're about to get underway. 3, 4, 5, red lights. And we're underway for the Season 4 Cockpit Cam Championship finale. It's Chalder with a great start off the line, and Reshka even better as he gets past Marcus into turn 1. Those hard tyres useless at the start from the Mercedes driver, and in fact is even more useless. He is round and to the back of the field. Disastrous start for Marcus just after Rick predicted him to win, and Reshka down the inside of his championship rival to take the lead of the championship finale here in Brazil. What a move move from Reshka. What a brilliant start it has been for him. And Chalder and Reshka lead the way. As it stands, Reshka would be champion. If they finish 1 and 2, Reshka just needs to be that number 1, and he will be champion. But further down the grid, it gets a little bit messier. But for now, it's very, very simple. Whoever finishes ahead of these two in the top 2 wins the title, and it's Reshka at the moment at the end of lap 1. Through the final corner they go, and he leads the way from Chalder. And one thing I should point out, Chalder, because of his driving style, you'll notice if we ride on board with him, when he goes into turn 1, he just throws the car into the apex and then sort of turns back. Watch this. Okay, maybe not turn 1, but turn 4, you'll probably see it. DRS enabled now, so he will be able to stay with the Williams driver, and Aces is going to lose out here. But down towards turn 4, watch this. Watch how he just throws the steering wheel into the apex. Okay, maybe not quite. Maybe he only did it in qualifying. But, you know, if you were watching qualifying, you would have seen it. But, yeah, so he's generally not as good with tyre wear, Chalder. There we go, now you see it in the slow corner. Just chucks the steering wheel through both of those corners, and it really does a number on the tyres. It's pretty fast, don't get me wrong, but goodness me, it does wear the tyres out more, demonstrably so. So he's that is going to be a factor in this race. I think Reshka's tyre wear is going to be slightly better, but we shall see. Reshka, though, down towards turn 1, he is 8.5 tenths ahead of Chalder already. He's doing a fantastic job out there. Chalder's still just about in the DRS range, as you can see from that rear wing flap opening up. Meanwhile, further back, Lou Simeons and Scott go wheel to wheel into turn 1. Scott around the outside, going to be the inside for turn 2, and he gets the move done just about. But the Ferrari's going to be back at him down towards turn 4. Reshka and Chalder are just pretty clear of each other for now, pretty calm, so we'll keep an eye on this mid-pack battle as Lou Simeons down the inside for turn 4, leaves just enough room for Scott on the exit, and Lou Simeons is ahead. Scott doing well though on those hard tyres for now. Vith trying to go down the inside with his soft tyres, which are going to wear out pretty quickly, but Marcus up to P11 already after his disastrous start to this race. So he should be able to get himself at least back in this train for P3, but the top 2 are long gone already. 2.5 seconds between them and Aces, and wow, this is going to be a fantastic 2-car showdown. If they remain together for the whole race and everyone else is way behind, it's going to be fantastic. Here comes Vith Yalman down the inside of the Haas driver, down towards turn 1. Can he put those softs to good use into turn 1? Iron Ghost in the meantime takes a podium position in the V-Carb, getting ahead of Aces, and Lou Simeons. Vith getting past Scott as well, and Scott's under pressure from Jack Alaco now just behind, the new Constructors champion along with Reshka this season. As they go down towards turn 4, Jacko's got the better overspeed, he's got the outside line, but Scott's still there, and he leaves the room for Jacko, but Jacko's going to be back at him. Up the hill they go, still side by side. Surely Jacko gets it now, and he does indeed as Scott goes onto the grass trying to hold it round the outside and loses a ton more positions. So a pretty costly mistake there from the Haas driver, unfortunately. Iron Ghost, meanwhile, still ahead of Aces, and they have gap to Lou Simeons now, 1.6 seconds to the Ferrari. So these two looking to streak clear for P3, but in the meantime, look who's caught up to the race leader, Chalder. With the DRS, should be able to make this move down towards turn 1 now. Oh, Reshka leaves him just about enough room, but lets him go peacefully in the end. He knows it doesn't matter who's ahead at the start of lap 5. All that matters is who's ahead at the end of lap 36. And Aces, meanwhile, gets back past Iron Ghost. And Reshka is back at the Ferrari driver. Down the inside he goes towards turn 4, and again Chalder lets that go. They're both clever drivers, and they both know when the right time to fight is and when it isn't. I think more crucially. Aces, though, getting past Iron Ghost, and that is more crucial. He does have to make these overtakes, because on these hard tyres, he can't afford to let the mediums get too much of a gap. He will rein them in a few laps' time. The mediums won't be quite as strong on this opening stint, but Ace is doing what he can for now to keep those hards in decent contention. And you know what? If he can stay within about 5 seconds of the top two, I reckon he's still in this race for the win when they come into the pits, because he'll be on the mediums, he'll be a lot faster, and his race pace around here is pretty damn good. So keep an eye on this man. Don't count him out. As long as he's within about 5 seconds of the top two when the pit stops start rolling in, he'll be well in this race. But he has been overtaken by Iron Ghost into turn 1. Another move done from the V-Carb driver. His Ace is going to be back at him down towards turn 4. He's got the DRS, he's got the overspeed, he looks to the inside after Iron Ghost covers it off. Aces just puts his nose in, and there's a bit of contact as they go through. Aces just sticking his nose in, and Iron Ghost tried to leave the room, but just a little bit of contact, and more contact as they head towards turn 6. Aces would not have been happy with that, but all of this battling is costing them time, not only to the top two, but also to Lou Simeon's behind, who is now in DRS range, and this little train for P3 extends down to P8 now as Lou Simeons and co join the party. But yeah, Ace is now 4 points. Well, chances of a race win are going to slip away the longer a battle like this goes on. Meanwhile, Chowder with the DRS down towards turn 1. Not willing to make a sacrificial move there. Aces around the outside of Iron Ghost, further back. But this is what Chowder's got to think about here. Does he attack Reshka and bring the other drivers into it and make it a bit more random? He is the leader, so he has got the initiative in terms of the championship. He leads by 3 points, so if both of them end up further down the grid, Chowder has the better chance of winning. Or does he work with Reshka to drop the cars behind and make it a 1v1 all the way to the end? That's the question that's going to be on his mind. At the moment, it looks like he's more willing to work with Reshka and make it a 1v1. But, you know, if the safety car comes out, that would change things quite a lot. Reshka, a mistake there into that left-hander, and that's going to cost him all the way down the straight, and that's going to be an easy DRS pass for the Italian. Down the inside he goes. Reshka not willing to fight that one too hard, and Chowder retakes the lead. Is Reshka going to be back at him to turn 4? We'll check back in a second, because Iron Ghost is down the inside. Someone's gone round further back. I think that's Patrick Myler at the final corner, and Iron Ghost does get ahead. Can Reshka fight back towards the 4th corner? No, he can't. He's too far back on this occasion, so he's just going to have to try and stay with the Ferrari for the rest of the lap. His Aces, though, just about staying ahead of the Ferrari, doing decently on those hard tyres still. He's still 100% the favourite for that P3 spot, but 1 and 2 are slipping away lap after lap at the moment. As a bit of a mistake from Chowder allows Reshka to close that gap back. It was up to nearly 7 tenths, now back down to 4 again. So he'll be very pleased with that, will the Briton. And now 3 tenths is another mistake from Chowder, and they're so even on this circuit, these two, and this is fantastic to see. After Chowder dominated the race in Jeddah last week in the championship penultimate round, here comes Reshka. Meanwhile, down the inside towards turn 1, and that's another easy DRS pass, I think. Yeah, Chowder not fighting that too hard. Is he going to be back at him to turn 4? He gets a decent exit out of 2. They've both got a good amount of ERS left, so there's no reason to fight for Chowder, and he lets Reshka go for now. Further back, Barvish and Scott having a little tussle towards turns 1 and 2. Scott loses the rear through turn 2 and allows Barvish through, and now he's going to be vulnerable to the other Mercedes of RLS Marcus, who had that appalling start to the Grand Prix, but he can't quite get past the Haas on this occasion. They've got Eisenborg just behind, keeping within range, and then Vans Racing just falling back a little bit. 1.8 seconds behind here is Patrick Milo and Crunchy Pancake quite a way behind. Jack Alaco gets the first track limits penalty of the contenders, I would like to say. No disrespect to Patrick and Crunchy Pancake, but they are quite a way down and would need a safety car to get themselves back in this race. So Jacko getting that track limits penalty. It won't be the last of the night, I guarantee that. Chowder down the inside of Reshka. That one was a little more complicated for him as they went through turn 1, and Reshka's going to be back at him this time towards turn 4. I don't think Chowder will fight this too hard. Here comes the British driver using that ERS, and Chowder saving his. Reshka through towards turn 4 and retakes the lead of this Grand Prix, but they are slowly allowing Iron Ghost and Aces back into this if they continue to battle. Iron Ghost with just 4.7 behind, and Aces is teetering on that 5-second range. Like I said, I think if he's within 5 seconds when they come in, I think Aces has got a chance for this podium. Since I was corrected, and that's how it's supposed to be pronounced, Palang. Lou Simeons just ahead of Jack Alaco for now as they go through Sector 2. Stays ahead. Jack Alaco, though, with the penalty he has to contend with later on, but it's not worth worrying about that right now. He's just got to focus on where he can go. There's going to be more time penalties for others as the race goes on, and he'll know that. Chowder down towards turn 1, not willing to make an overtake this time, but guess who is? Aces up to P3, and Jack Alaco as well up to P5. Synchronized overtakes for 3rd and 5th respectively on the same straight. That might have been a track limits warning for Jacko there, though, as Scott retakes the position from Barvish meanwhile for P9. Only points for the top 10, the standard F1 point system, as Jack Alaco gets mobbed by Lou Simeons down towards turn 4. Not much that the Scottish driver can do about that, and not much Scott can do about that. But Lou Simeons makes a mistake through Sector 2, and Jack Alaco's back at him around the outside of turn 6 and 7, and Lou Simeons locks the rears. Jacko's around the outside again, and he makes the move. Brilliant bit of battling between those two after the mistake from the Ferrari, and Jacko back into 5th place for now, but it won't matter with the DRS down to turn 1. It's just good stuff. It's good to catch on the stream, as Patrick Myler the next to get another track limits penalty. Scott still keeping with Barvish. That's what he's got to do, just stay in the DRS. He's with RLS Marcus as well, both of them right up there as Chowder retakes the lead into turn 1. Not much Reshka can do about that, but again, not quite as simple this time, as that is a pit stop for the Ferrari of Lou Simeons. An early one, very, very early onto the hards, and Reshka retaking that the lead of this race into turn 4 in the meantime. Scott now with a time penalty, and here they come. They're going to start rolling in now, these track limits penalties, so keep an eye on the top of your screen. But Reshka back into the lead, and these two continue to trade the lead of this race, but Aces versus Kings is only 4.5 seconds behind, and those hards are only going to get better in comparison to the mediums over the next few laps, and it's going to be a question of when do these medium runners pit. The undercut is so huge around here, you can't afford to get undercut if you're Reshka and Chowder by the other of your championship contenders. So big decisions to come, especially for the driver in front, as Chowder goes down the inside. I thought he was diving into the pits there for a second, but no, he's just making the overtake, and he does so with aplomb into turn 1. And once again they swap positions, but Aces now is starting to gap Iron Ghost a little bit. 7/10 it was at the end of the straight, and Aces hard tyres are really coming into play now. He's catching the top 2. Here comes Reshka. He's going to catch them more with this kind of battling. There's a bit of contact between them both. Reshka practically pushing the championship leader through turn 4, but they just about get away with it, and Reshka probably would have gotten a track limits penalty there on the exit of turn 5. That was unnecessary, I think, or track limits warning rather. So if he did get one, he'll be frustrated with himself. But if he didn't, then he should be okay. But yeah, when are those track limits penalties going to come into play? That is going to be the question here between these two. And when is Aces going to come into play? I think he's the main threat here. Marcus, with his awful start, is now too far back unless we get a safety car. So it's all about whether Aces can catch them towards the end of this first stint and the start of the second. How far can he go? Can he get back into this contention for the race lead as Reshka retakes the lead of this race? I'm just going to quickly take you through countback, by the way. So Chalda has 6 wins and Reshka has 5 wins coming into this race. Chalda has no second places, but Reshka has 2. So if Reshka if Reshka did win this race, then he would be champion anyway, which actually means that Chalda wins on countback every time. So if Reshka beats him by 3 points in this race, then it will be a Chalda champion at the end of the day on countback, which would be just an incredible ending. And that is very, very possible as the virtual safety car comes out. We can waffle about it a bit more. If Reshka finishes second, that's 18 points, and Chalda finishes third, say Aces catches up and wins the race on his better tyres, but Reshka beats Chalda to second place, it would be Chalda who wins. On countback, they would be on the same number of points at the end of the season, 195 each. But Chalda, with one more win than the Williams driver, would be your new champion. So very much in the mix here. This could be a fantastic conclusion. Aces really... We were expecting Marcus to be the spoiler effect here, but it's looking like it's going to be Aces at the end of the day, as a lot of drivers come in. Probably a sensible decision, just taking advantage of the lower delta at the virtual safety car. All these cars have to conform to a slower lap time while the VSC is out. And Reshka gets a brilliant restart off the VSC, but Chalda comes back at him through 6 and 7. And Aces, look at this. He gets an even better one. 3.5 seconds now between him and the top 2. And he is a real threat for this race win now. 100%. Now he's gotten rid of Iron Ghost. He is going to be catching these two very, very quickly. I'm surprised neither of them came in under the VSC, to be honest. That might be a track limits warning for Reshka as well through the final corner. He's got to be careful here, because it would be gutting to lose the championship due to a track limits penalty and not lose it on track. I'd much rather lose a championship on track than to track limits. But through they go. We're nearing the halfway mark of this race. And things are starting to heat up now, with Aces now just about within 3 seconds of the top 2 and still catching. Seb Mail comes into the pits in the meantime. Jack Alacco down the inside of Vans Racing after his pit stop is back up into P6. And Iron Ghost and Jacko really fighting it out now. Iron Ghost especially. He's got that undercut advantage over Aces, but Aces will have the better tyres in the second stint and should be able to catch and pass the V-Carb driver. But you never know. Iron Ghost could be in with a shot here, but not anymore. I think I just saw that gap go up, did I? Was it 3 seconds to Scott, or was I looking at the wrong gap? I'm not sure. I'm not sure, to be honest. We'll think about that later, because look who's just come in. The championship leader gets the undercut done on Reshka, and it's going to be 1 lap. Reshka will definitely come in this lap. There's no way he stays out unless he goes medium soft like an absolute madman. But Chalda's going to come in. He exits on the hard tyres. Where will he exit? Where's Iron Ghost? That's the big question. He's coming to turn 1 now. Look out for the Ferrari on the left-hand side of your screen. Where is he? is Iron Ghost going to come out ahead of him here? They're coming through turn 3. Where's the Ferrari? He's just ahead of Iron Ghost, and that is so crucial for Chalder to be there. But this just shows how powerful that undercut is. Iron Ghost was some 4 seconds behind, and suddenly right behind the Ferrari now, and Reshka's going to be in big trouble once he comes in. Those mediums are going to be getting pretty bad, and if he does come in for that pit stop now, he's going to have to absolutely book it on the exit. Is he coming in? Yeah, no medium soft shenanigans for Reshka. Even though he only did 2 laps in qualifying, he's going to be hoping that a late safety car comes out, because then he'll be on a very good set of soft tyres to the end. But Aces stays out and now leads the Grand Prix as Reshka comes in. Where is Chalder in all this? He's coming down towards turn 1. As Reshka, where is he? Is he exiting the pits now? He is indeed. Where is the Ferrari? Where's Iron Ghost in all this? Where's Reshka? Look on the left-hand side. Where's the Williams? He's just coming out the pits there. He's split the 2 of them. Crucially for Reshka, he stayed in touch with the Ferrari, and he'll be very pleased with how that has shaken out. He would have been pretty worried there that he wouldn't that he wasn't going to be within range of the Ferrari, but he is indeed. He's got to get his tyres up to temperature, so he's got to stay with him through this middle sector, and he hasn't done there, but a little bit better through that corner. He should be able to stay in touch, and does indeed. 6/10 is the gap. Can he have the DRS down to turn 1? That's the biggest thing. Through they go. The detection point's just after this corner, so he needs to nail it. No rear lockup to be found. I did that a lot on Friday and Sunday when I was racing around here. But yeah, Reshka well within range. He's got the DRS and he's still in this race and in this championship. Iron Ghost just behind them as well, still holding on to the back of these 2, and he is on the same tyres as well, so this is actually a pretty good break for Iron Ghost. He could actually be the spoiler effect in this if he can get involved. If these 2 start fighting, then Iron Ghost will be very happy to just sweep his way past. But Aces versus Kings still out on those hards. When does he pit for the mediums? It's got to be soon, you have to think. Maybe even this lap. Same for his teammates as Chalder comes through the middle sector. Reshka still with Chalder. Iron Ghost still there as well. Lou Simeon's as well next near Jacko. As they go through the final sector, it's going to be DRS for the Ferrari driver. Can he make a move here? It looks like he's going to. Overtake made, and up to P6 goes the Ferrari. In the meantime, the other Ferrari of Chalder keeps Reshka behind. Aces stays out another lap. Surely he's not doing hard soft. Oh my god, Aces. Aces, what a waste of an opportunity that would be if he did do that. Who knows, maybe he's a genius and he's absolutely right, but more often than not, Aces is pretty unreasonable, shall we say, with the strategies. As they go through the middle sector, Iron Ghost still sticking with them. Lucimion's 5 seconds behind, isn't really in the fight. He is on the mediums, but he's going to have to take those a very, very long way. And Jacko with the time penalty as well. Here they go into the final corner, and Ace is finally into the pits, which means Scott will stay out 1 more lap. Actually, he's far enough behind. He could probably double stack, but he doesn't. He stays out, and he's going to be a spoiler effect here but for these 2. Where is Aces as he comes out the pits? That's the question. Reshka down the inside of Chalder for turn 1, but he backs out of it just before the apex. Iron Ghost just sitting back and watching, and Reshka gets a time penalty. It's a disaster, and look who's out ahead of them somehow. Oh no, sorry, that was Scott. I was looking at the wrong Haas. Aces comes out well behind, actually. I was very confused as to how he was even there. But Aces, this is the wrong Williams and Ferrari battle, everyone. The correct one is 2 and 3. And Aces is out behind these two, which is a problem for him. But Scott now leads the race, but Chalder has the DRS. And just 1 second. Won't be too long. Alright, apologies everyone. Scott into the pits as Reshka takes the lead of the race, but it's not good enough as it stands. Iron Ghost is still there, by the way. He's doing a fantastic job in that V-carb. But Jackalacko up there in 4th as well. Scott getting the new tyres on. He's going to come out well down in P10 by the looks of it. But Aces, so much work to do now. He's got these two ahead of him. He's not going to be able to get past very easily. He may have the much better tyres, but goodness me. Well, I mean, that's it. If that's not a good metaphor for Aces' task here, I don't know what is, but Jacko's just made it a lot easier for him by going wide and onto the grass. And Aces now should be able to clear this Ferrari very easily. And then it's 6 seconds up the road to the top 3. That is quite the gap. But with the top 2 surely going to be battling, and Iron Ghost up there as well, gives him a decent opportunity to still be within touch, especially with Reshka's penalty as well. Reshka tried valiantly to drop Chalder out of DRS range, but he couldn't quite do it. And the Ferrari gets back well within range, 4 tenths from 9 tenths at the start of the straight. Aces does indeed dispatch of that Ferrari, and he's up to 4th place. The top 3 continue to go at it though. Iron Ghost just about staying within DRS range of Chalder, but is putting in a valiant effort, the Canadian, I have to say. But that is a mistake through turn 4, and that could be game over for him, at least for now. The top 2 will surely battle more as the race goes on. Still 13.5 laps left to go, but he's in a very good spot here, Iron Ghost, nonetheless, at least for a podium. Especially with Reshka's penalty, but with Aces 6 seconds behind, he's got a lot of work to do, but those tyres are going to do a lot of it for him, so we'll see if he can use them to full effect. Iron Ghost has stayed within range. He's done very well there in the middle sector of this lap, and still well within a chance of winning this race out of nowhere. And it's not over, you know. If Chalder has a bad exit out of somewhere, gets onto the grass, goes wide, Ace is setting the fastest lap. That's a bit of an intimidation tactic from him, and it could work well to get in the heads of these top 3. But yeah, Chalder, he just got to keep it on the track now. That's all he's got to do. Keep it on the track. Don't make any big mistakes. And he is surely the champion, because that 3-second time penalty for Reshka, you've got to say, is a very, very big chance of being a killer blow to his championship chance here today. 12.5 laps to go, and yeah, I have noticed it, Sumo. There's sort of debris flying up on the exit when they hit the curb. I think that's what you're referring to. Yeah, I have noticed it. It's weird and a little annoying, but it's not too bad. Of all the visual bugs that could and do happen in this game, I think that's one of the more minor ones. But down towards turn 1 they go, and Chalder now, his strategy is going to change quite a bit. It's going to go from finish ahead of Reshka at all costs to suddenly being, well, I can stay behind him and just ease off, and still win the title. He can't take it for granted, though. You never know. Reshka could have been forced off at some point. He could have gotten an unfair penalty at turn 2, because that is a glitch at this track. Sometimes if you cut turn 2 by a little bit, the game will just give you a straight corner cutting penalty instead of a track limits warning. So it could be that. So Chowder can't take this for granted. He's got to keep going, as Vith gets himself a penalty as well further back. He's doing well at the moment, is Vith in P7, well within the points range. But through they go, the final corner, Reshka ahead, but not enough. Chowder with the DRS will be able to close back in, and Reshka desperately needs to drop this Ferrari out of range and put him into the clutches of Iron Ghost and perhaps Aces, who is catching. 4.7 seconds now. It is coming down. It'll go back up again with the DRS, but through Sector 2 it's coming down quite a bit. So Ace is doing what he can here, and when all is said and done, Reshka could find himself off the podium here if he's not careful. I'm going to have a quick look at Race Director for Reshka to see where he got his penalty. Okay, 2 warnings, invalidated lap time penalty plus warning. So, in theory, they are both track limits. Reshka, where is he? Can't find him. Where is he? There he is. Collision with Chowder exceeded track limits. Okay, so if we look at lap times, that is 1 for exceeding track limits. This one is probably for exceeding track limits as well then, and then there's the 3rd warning. So in theory that is a legitimate penalty, but we shall see in the stewards room later on. So Chowder can't take it for granted. If Chowder does win just by finishing behind the Williams and just Reshka taking that penalty on the chin, I won't declare a champion, just in case. But if Reshka wins by more than 3 seconds, then he will definitely be champion. If Chowder finishes ahead of him, then he will definitely be champion as they head up the hill towards turn 6 for the 27th time. Reshka still ahead, but Chowder not really willing to take too many risks here. Iron Ghost still sticking with them. What a fantastic job the Canadian is doing right now. Aces versus Kings. Marcus, meanwhile, gets himself a penalty further back. This has been a horrible race for him after starting on the front row. But Aces has caught by another 8/10. Thank you, Sumo, for pointing that out from the previous lap, but it's come down, I think, by 9/10 actually this time. So he is going to be well within range very soon if it continues like this, and he's going to be a spoiler effect. He's going to want to win this race just as much as Iron Ghost and Chowder. Chowder is only interested in the championship, same for Reshka. So just got to finish ahead of each other, but Iron Ghost and Aces with nothing to lose could well spoil the party. It looked like, for all the world, at the start of this race, that our top 2 would streak clear and it would be a 1v1 for the title, and Aces has just made his job a whole lot harder. 3-second time penalty. Marcus retires in the pit lane just after I said that he's having a horrible race. He must have heard me. But Reshka, it'll be a little bit of respite to him to see that Aces has a penalty as well, but not much of one. Chowder still there in P2, right behind. Reshka cannot get rid of this Ferrari. And Iron Ghost still up there as well. He's still got a chance to win this race if the top 2 go wheel to wheel and it goes wrong. Iron Ghost is there to pick up the pieces. Aces isn't really anymore with that penalty. But into turn 1 they go. How many penalties did Crunchy Pancake have now? 15 seconds. Okay. At the back there, but he's valiantly driving on, is the Aston Martin, with Eisenborg pitting, putting him up to P13. Meanwhile, Aces, 3 seconds. Who's that? That is, do not worry, that is RLS Marcus, the stricken Mercedes, pulling off in the foreground there to retire from the race. As Scott and Barvish, these two have gone wheel to wheel many times this race, and they continue to do so. This is a great little tussle between these two, and Scott is ahead through turn 4 up to 7th place. Let's have a quick look at penalties. But Scott with 6 seconds and Barvish with 3. 3 seconds for Aces, Reshka and Vith as well, and then 6 seconds for Jacko and Eisenborg at the back, with 9 seconds to Patrick Myler, and of course 15 seconds to Crunchy Pancake. As we previously mentioned, Chalder with the DRS still not willing to make a move into turn 1. He is perfectly content to sit behind this Williams. As Aces charge towards the top 3 is ebbing away. That gap did not come down anywhere near as much that lap, only 5/10. And Chalder into the back of Reshka into turn 4. A little bit of a twitch from Reshka on the exit as he regained control of his car. It's 3 wide. Oh, and it's all gone wrong for Scott in the midfield. He's down to P8 after a bit of contact, presumably between himself, Vith, and Barvish. He's only 1.6 behind, but and with much better tyres, so he should be able to get himself back into it. But that is a setback for the Haas driver, as the top 3 continue to go at it, and Aces has caught them quite a bit this lap. Maybe you just made a mistake on the previous lap. Oh, and that's a big mistake. Onto the grass he goes on entry, and that is Ace's chance for the win gone up in smoke. Big mistake at the final corner, put 2 wheels on the grass, and as soon as he braked, all the tyres locked, and that was game over. He will be cursing in that cockpit, I assure you. And, well, that's a sentence that rings even more true in the Cockpit Cam Championship. Yeah, disaster for Aces, just as it looked like he might get himself into this. He is now consigned to 4th place, I think, from this point onwards. Barvish makes an overtake up to P6 in the Mercedes. He's doing well at the moment. Gets ahead of Vith with Scott on the warpath just behind. And Lou Simeons is there as well, don't forget, on the soft tyres. So they're going to be a bit shot towards the end. But he does have a decently small gap between himself and all the drivers ahead who have penalties. Will zero back in on the top 3, and as soon as they go through turn 4, I'm just going to check Chalder's penalties or warnings to see if he's anywhere near a track limits penalty, or if Reshka has thrown it away with a track limits penalty. I did say earlier on in this race, oh, there's contact though. There's contact into turn 1. I don't know if there was damage to Chalder there, but a little mistake from the Ferrari, and that's what Reshka's got to do now. He's got to play a little bit dirty from this point onwards if he wants to win this title. If he really is hungry for it, he does have to back Chalder up, I think, through the middle sector, force him into having problems with Iron Ghost, maybe brake a little bit early and push him into a mistake, into a corner without brake checking him. I have to say that. Don't brake check, but you can brake a little bit early and make the car behind have, a little bit of a mistake, perhaps. But I don't know if Reshka's that type of driver. That's the thing. Does he have that ruthless streak in him? To play dirty in these closing laps, to try and get this championship at all costs after he's all but thrown it away with this track limits penalty. I do wonder. They come through down towards turn 1 once again, and Reshka still ahead. Chalder a long way behind this time, but not far enough, and stays within DRS range once again. Silly spin and orange wing damage from lap 1, said Marcus. Gave it all, but pointless. That is unfortunate. Reshka is unsure if he'll be able to get one of his warnings removed, and that is what I wanted to hear. So it is still game on here. We will see if this is still, if there is still a chance for Reshka. They go through lap 33 of 36. So, like I said, if Reshka finishes first on track, I will not call a champion until after stewards. If you're in the Discord, you'll have to keep an eye on the stewards room to see if anyone gets a penalty. I'm just going to have or gets their penalty removed in the case of Reshka. Chalder, does he have any warnings? Oh, he has one invalidated lap time, but I think that warning's probably for collision. So he only has one track limits warning because he did hit Reshka into turn 1 on that lap. So I do think this is just for track limits. He's only got one. So it's all about whether Reshka can get that removed in the stewards. I hate to say it, I really wish I could have called a champion today, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. 3 laps to go in this thrilling Grand Prix. Aces is well out of the fight now. Iron Ghost is still very much in this. If anything happens between those top 2, he is perfectly ready. He's not won a race yet in this championship, but this could be his chance to do exactly that. And bring it home for Canada and for commentators alike. But Reshka still leads for now, ahead of Chalder. They're still all together, as they have been for the last nearly 20 laps now. Into the last few, and Reshka a little bit slow through that corner. Chalder having to take a little bit of a slower line to make up for it. They go through, they've both still got plenty of ERS. Ingos got 50% left, just sticking with these two, but he's still doing very, very well indeed. Here they go, down towards turn 1. Chalder using a bit of overtake button on the exit, but not towards turn 1. And is he going to be complacent here? He can't possibly be. It's a championship finale. You can't assume that a track limits penalty is legitimate. You just can't. It would be foolish to do so. He's got to get him on track. I do wonder if he's going to keep that in mind or not. There's a back marker ahead. Is that going to cause any problems? Reshka coming up towards, I think it's Vans Racing who gets Julie out the way, but that will surely be a track limits warning for Reshka. Surely. We've got to look at the race director. We've got to. Few lap times. Let's look down towards the bottom. Was it a track limits warning? It was! It was a track limits warning for Reshka, and it's all going here. It's all going ham here in the last 2 laps of this championship. Reshka surely now has a 3-second time penalty that he cannot remove. That was definitely a legitimate track limits warning, and Chalder now is in. Has got one hand on the trophy. The last corner of the penultimate lap. Can Chalder get him into turn 1? Is he going to try? He's using the overtake. He's going for it this time. He's going to have the DRS, but he eases off again. Is he going to go for it into turn 4 instead? No. Here he goes. Chalder takes the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix onto the final lap of this championship. What a brilliant finale this has been. But Reshka, I think, may have thrown it away on track limits. They're going to go down towards turn 4. Reshka's going to give it everything to get ahead. He goes to the inside towards turn 4. Chalder lets him go. He knows he can get him towards the line perhaps, but surely that time penalty can't be removed now for the British driver. And he's going to be absolutely devastated if he does lose it on that front. And it looks like he's going to. Into turn 7 they go. There's a little bit of a lock-up for Chalder, but no big mistakes. Iron Ghost is still sitting there, just as Marcus said he's very good at doing. And I haven't actually watched Iron Ghost race ever before, so it's great to see that he's got some brilliant racing smarts on him. But here we go, into the final corner of the final lap of this Cockpit Cam Championship Season 4. Chalder's going to have the DRS. He has plenty of battery to spend as well. Can he get him towards the line and put an underline on it once and for all? Down to the line they go. It's a drag race, and Chalder wins. Was it on track? No, it's very, very close, but it wasn't on track. Reshka wins on track, but Chalder wins the race after the penalty. I said I wouldn't call it, but that track limits warning for Reshka on lap 34, I really don't think he can get that removed. I really, really don't. So I'm going to say it. I am going to call it. Chalder is your Season 4 ESRL Cockpit Cam champion. He finally gets a championship here in ESRL after so long, so many runner-up positions and heartbreaking moments for him, but he's finally got it. And so well deserved, but Reshka pushed him all the way to the end. And what a fantastically deserving championship finale this was. Sometimes with these kinds of finales, it can be very anticlimactic, like it was in Season 1 in this very championship. But today, anything but, even with the penalty for Reshka, we weren't sure if he would get it removed until the end. But I'm 98% confident in saying he will not get that removed now. So Chalder wins the race, and with it, the Season 4 title. GG indeed to both of them, and well done to Iron Ghost as well. What a race from him. The man from Canada flying the Maple Leaf to second place, but Chalder wins the race by 6/10 from Iron Ghost, and Reshka heartbreakingly misses out thanks to that track limits penalty, and he will finish in third place. Aces versus Kings takes the fastest lap in P4, but that mistake cost him a chance at the win. Jackalacko in the top 5, great race from him. Scott finishes ahead of Barvish in 5th for P6. Lou Simeons and Seb Mail make out the rest of the points, with Patrick, Vans, Eisenborg and Crunchy the last of the finishers, and Marcus DNF. What a season. Like I said, it's only by complete chance that I was able to commentate this championship finale. But here I am, and I'm very glad I was here because it was a great ending to what has clearly been a fantastic season. And congratulations to Chalder. Huge commiserations to Reshka as well. He will win a title someday. I'm absolutely sure of it. But he'll have to wait just a little bit longer. So thank you all ever so much for watching. It's been brilliant. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next time for more ESRL, more racing on this channel and also on Twitch. In the meantime, though, thank you all and goodbye.